look tasty. We'll find out how tasty soon.
Hello guys, I am Pixel and today we are going to be looking at both Quake Champions running on the 8GB version of the SAPPHIRE Nitro Plus RX 580 and also having a quick look at Quake Champions itself so we can give you guys our early impressions from the beta. So let's get right to it. Normally, we would just stick up an FPS counter in the top corner of the screen and let you guys see the performance for yourself. However, due to this being a very competitive title, we wanted to make sure that we cover all the bases. Ultra settings for those of you that want to play your games looking all pretty, and again with settings selected for 120 FPS plus performance in mind. So first off, Ultra settings. I am happy to report that we see very decent performance on the RX 580, especially considering just how good the game looks visually. Frame rates will hover at around the 105 FPS mark, only dropping down during really intense fighting scenes to around 80. This is perfect for all you guys out there on either a 60Hz monitor or even high refresh rate FreeSync displays. On a side note, we were also able to achieve a solid 60 FPS at 1440p on ultra settings, so good news for all you guys out there that play on 1440p displays. Anyway, back to 1080p. If you fall into the more competitive bracket of gaming and you want to prioritise performance over the visuals, the RX 580 will still easily get the job done. By dropping down the settings to somewhere between medium and high, we was able to cap the frame rate at 120 FPS comfortably. The reason why we never went for an uncapped frame rate at these settings was due to the large variance in frames per second. This can cause inconsistency with frame timings, which can have a negative impact on the smoothness of a game even at high frame rates. But remember, this is still a very early closed beta build of the game, and that variance will likely be tightened up going forward. The positive side of all the high numbers that we did see when uncapped is that it points to great potential when it comes to raising the minimum frame rates, which should allow in future us to maintain a higher stable frame cap. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's move on to the game itself. Quake Champions is the latest title in the Quake franchise. Now, while I'm pretty sure the majority of you guys out there have either played a Quake title in the past or at least know of it, just in case we have a few people here that don't, Quake is an arena first-person shooter which, along with its sister Doom, are credited with kickstarting the three-dimensional first-person shooter genre. The gameplay is fast, the skill ceiling is high, and yet the formula is simple. You just kill or be killed. Quake Champions takes this formula this time around and adds the idea of champions with unique stats and abilities. And while the discussion of whether that is a good thing or a bad thing is inevitable, there is still no denying that Quake Champions is Quake. Most of the weapons are here: rocket jumps, quad damage, railgun, and even the good old campground. I am certain that the core gameplay will be instantly familiar to anyone that has played a Quake game in the past. So with that said, time to put my cards on the table. Personally, I quite like the champions and abilities, because with abilities comes possibilities and mastery. This is most obvious with the various movement systems that become available. Now, instead of just having to learn one movement system and master it, you have 4 or 5 and possibly even more as more champions are added to the roster. Where I am sure this will still concern some people is in the balance, and to that I will not only say that in the 20 to 25 hours that I have played Quake Champions that I have not really noticed any really obvious imbalances, but it also appears that great care is being taken into not only the champions themselves, balance wise, but also how they fit into the game modes. Talking about game modes, in the closed beta we currently have access to Duel, Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch and Sacrifice. For the most part, Duel, Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch are exactly what you would expect. That said, Duel has had a few changes to help it integrate better with the champion system, but yeah, it's still your 1 versus 1 mode. Sacrifice, on the other hand, is a completely new mode which seems to be aimed towards competitive play. At the start of a map, a soul spawns in the centre, at which point both teams fight over it and try to take it to one of the 2 points on the map where they can hold it till it reaches 100%. First team to do this 3 times will win the round. All the time that you are holding the point, the enemy is trying to take it off you and return the soul to the opposite point on the map. It's kind of like CTF Domination and Deathball all rolled into one, and so far I am really enjoying it. I'm interested to see how it plays out in a competitive setting, but so far it definitely looks promising. I suppose it's also important to mention that Quake Champions will be a free-to-play title as well as having the option to purchase the game up front. Basically, this means that you've got the option to buy the game and skip the unlocking of all the champions, which is actually a great option for players out there that are interested in the game but have very limited time to play. As this is a freemium game, as you can expect, we have loot boxes. In these boxes you will get all kind of neat stuff such as armor shaders, player icons, skins, and more. They kind of work in the same way as we see in games like Overwatch. So far from what I've seen, the customization is pretty damn good and allows you to really customize the look of each of your champions. So far, I have noticed zero issues with enemy silhouettes and identification, so I have absolutely no issue with this whatsoever. Really, I don't know what more to say. Quake Champions is really just more of the Quake that a lot of us grew up with, and believe me, that is a good thing. I just hope that it manages to reignite that flame for the arena shooter that once shone so bright. Anyway, once again, that's me done for today. If you are new around here, please do remember to slap that subscribe button and also to like the video if you like the video. Also, make sure that you check out Quake Champions when you get a chance, because it's one of those games that I really do believe that everyone should play at least once, because there's so much history packed in there. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. I have been Pixel, making this video for the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, I've already told you, I won't tell you again. And until next time, I'll catch you later, bye bye.